Join me this October where I'll be celebrating Halloween. 31 zine reviews in 31 days. Joining me will be my friend Beanie. Hi, welcome to our continuation of Halloween. Today we're going to be reviewing Cairn, which is a hack of Into the Odd and a bit of Knave, and is inspired by a previous version of Weird North by Jim Parkin. So there's a long history to it, but Cairn seems to have gotten a lot of traction in the indie zine space as far as people make Cairn hacks quite a bit. And the designer of it, Yochai Gal, he is very supportive of people that are hacking Cairn. So he's got his own zine review podcast that he just started with Brad Kerr called Between Two Cairns. So you should check that out. But let's get into this review. And what do you think, Beanie? Funny. Well, I think you're funny too, Beanie. Okay, let's get going. So if you look here on the back, Yochai has said that it's an adventure game inspired by the likes of Into the Odd and Knave being by Ben Milton. And he actually released a Knave second edition in progress, and everybody really loves Knave in his previous work of Maze Rats. So as you can see within the realm of indie game designs, there's a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of people sharing ideas. And because Yochai released Cairn as SRD, lots of people are able to use it within their own games. So you can see Yochai did the content design layout, Jim Parkin did the editing. It was reverse for the Weird North game. And then Cosmic Aurori did the cover, and Licopeo did the character sheet inside, which we'll look at. So Cairn, like I said, printed at LFOSR, inspired by Chris McDowell, Ben Milton, both should be very familiar names. Gavin Norman's Dolmenwood, who did the OSE, Old School Essentials game. Tam H for being a layout savior. Lucas McClure for the idea, and Sarah, and she knows why. So Cairn is a classless game, meaning that you do not have a class, you just are a character, and then you develop your character as you go, deciding what you like and what you don't like. Death is around every corner, meaning that you have to be a smart role player to avoid combat and confrontations that would cause death. And so that's not meant to kill you, but it's meant to kind of give context and stakes to your decisions. It's fiction first, saying that the dice do not always reflect the obstacle's difficulty or its outcome. Instead, success and failure are arbitrated by the warden, they're the DM, as most people would call it, in dialogue with the players based upon the world's elements. So, you know, it's got that element of FKR, Free Kriegspiel Revolution, where you enter the game and the world is based upon a mutual trust between players. Growth, characters are changed through the world, and advancement is getting new skills and abilities and surviving dangerous events. The warden or the DM is just a neutral arbitrator of the rules. Player choice is paramount, meaning that whatever can happen happens. There's no railroading, there's no GM saying this is what's happening. There's no like, well, the adventure has to go this way. It's whatever the players do. And of shared objectives is just that you're trying to create a fictional world that you could all play in, and that requires mutual trust. So there's some really good guidelines here. I think probably among the best parts of Cairn is the principles for the wardens and principles for the players. And it just outlines a lot of these overarching concepts that I just discussed, but well worth it. And by the way, you know, Cairn is free. You can go print it out on your own computer. Yochai actually encourages people to do so. You can also buy it from Lulu. You can download just the PDF. Some people even print them out and put them in those little libraries. So you're welcome to do whatever you want with it. It's Creative Commons. The character creation. So as you go through, you have your name, background, and traits, which are randomly rolled. You also have your ability scores, and this is from Into the Odd, which has just strength, dexterity, and willpower as your only attributes. So similarly to, say, Dungeons and Dragons, which most people would be common with or familiar with, you roll 3d6, and that's what it is. Now, those ability scores are used for saves throughout the game. So if you are doing something that requires strength, you would basically make a save against your strength, rolling a d20, trying to get under or equal to that strength. And so if you're lifting something heavy, you roll 1d20, and if it's under your strength, you're able to achieve it. And one of the nice things about the game is it just simplifies it, and that's in a based upon the Into the Odd kind of concept of trying to whittle down a complex game into something very simple that you can just play at the table. And once again, the rules are meant to be there to guide you, but the actual play takes place at the table, and the decisions are made by the players. Hit protection, otherwise known as hit points in most games, is your lifeline. Each player starts with a small amount. Once again, it's basically death is around every corner. And whenever you enter combat, you're gonna probably take damage. So you have some armor that can reduce that damage, but every time you enter combat, you are taking damage. There's no rolls to hit. It's just you're taking damage as well as the monster is taking damage. You get some starting gear. They do inventory similar to Maze Rats and Mouse Ritter and probably Knave, where you get your slots, and then that's how you keep track of what you're carrying. Each player gets 10 slots. Slots can mean a lot of different things. A spell book might take a slot. Fatigue might end up taking a slot. And then the slots, eventually when you reach 10, you can't carry anymore. So here's the random characters, the 1d20, some female names, male names, surnames, backgrounds. So once again, this is, characters that are entering the world. So they might have a background of alchemist, outlaw, ranger, whatever the case might be, as they enter the world, and you roll randomly on it. And then there's characters' trait, so everything from physique to misfortunes. And so within, like, literally how long it takes you to roll a bunch of tables, you have a character, and you've got some flavor that you can enter the game into, as well as there's some starting gear, the types of armors, weapons, optional gear packs. So here are the rules. Abilities: strength, dexterity, willpower. And whenever something bad is going to happen, you save against one of these by rolling a d20 and hoping that you get underneath it. You can heal your hit points or health points by just resting. However, if you are in danger or you've lost your ability scores, you are not able to recover your health points. And that's more in line with the deprivation of fatigue, that if you reach that, you're filling your slots, you cannot recover your health points. Armor reduces damage. And then there's reactions, going back to like the old school way of role-playing in basic Dungeons and Dragons, where there's a morale roll to see how people react to you. And then your character goes through the world gaining wealth and treasure. That's how you advance. And there you can get hirelings. Spellbooks and scrolls are a little bit unique here because there's no magic user. You actually have spellbooks. Anybody that's in the game can actually use a spellbook. All you have to do is read it, and the spell tend to be more of the type that, like, they have an effect. So there's not like this causes this much damage or anything like that. They just have an effect, and whatever that effect is happens within the game. So once again, you just read the spell book. That's what it is. That's what happens, and it is the book itself that takes up a slot. So although it's a pretty loose game, because if you're in combat, you are in combat, and there's whatever damage you're going to take automatically. So there's not really like as much strategy involved in combat, but they do keep track in rounds just to help make the game flow. So you've got your rounds and you've got your actions, and you can basically move and take an action, say what you're doing. You get the attack and the damage as I outlined. You're automatically going to get hit. The monster's automatically going to get hit. To speed things up, if there's a group of players, you all roll damage, and whoever does the most is who does the damage to the monster. There are some modifiers based upon the if you're in a advantage or disadvantage. Dual weapons, blast, critical damage. One of the fun things about this game is scars. So if you are reduced to 0, there's a scars table, which you can see here on the next slide, or on the next page. Blasting, broken limb, diseased, sundered, just fun little flavor to add to the game. You can also, if you run out of health points, you can actually start reducing it from your strength, but then it becomes a little bit more complicated to recover hit health points and moving forward. The bestiary, a lot of these are just so simple that it's just an easy game to play. And I think that's why a lot of people really enjoy hacking Cairn, is that the SRD has all these monsters and all the spells, and you can just kind of make your own fantasy game based upon the SRD, which you can find at Cairn RPG. And then once again, I mentioned the spells that you can see that they just cause effect. Like a lot of them are just kind of, this is what happens. You hear whispers, you hover, you hypnotize, and that's just what happens. So it just kind of is just a very easy, simple game, really good starter game. I'd say that this is amongst one of the best just starting role-playing games that you can introduce people to the hobby with. And so big community of Cairn. Here's really cool character sheet. As you can see, very simple compared to what you'd find with a 5e game, and a little cheat sheet of the role summary. So Cairn, highly suggest checking it out. Big community. You're welcome to take the rules in the SRD and make your own version of the game. And I think it's really interesting zine that you should check out. You can buy it at LFOSR. You can download it for free. So what's stopping you? You should go ahead and do it.
Happy Halloween, ladies.